people come in. I think we need some. Thank you, Amar. I appreciate it. We're setting up another table here, Brother Amar here, and some chairs, inshallah. So if everyone can do me a favor. Oh, yeah, that might not work. Actually, on the sides, yeah, they have exactly, perfect. Sorry, Desiree, we didn't want you to sit on the floor or anything. Inshallah. So if we can just if there's any empty seats, let's just make sure that we can all have a seat for everyone to sit here, inshallah. So just fill in all the seats if at all possible. We have a lot of announcements, but I'm going to do that at the end, along with some really nice announcements and special announcements. So that is very important. But one thing I'll say right now, as the sign-up sheets are going around, everybody with me? Just want to make sure everybody is on the same page, inshallah. The sign-up sheet that is going around, we have a new column, and that's the column for the phone number. So what we're trying to do is have a WhatsApp group only for new Muslims, right? Because we have a WhatsApp group for mentors, so we're going to have a WhatsApp group for new Muslims, mentees, right? And many of you wanted this, and it's just something that we're trying to get around to. So if you are interested in joining the WhatsApp group, if you are a new Muslim, then I ask you to please write down your phone number so that this way we can add you to our group, the WhatsApp New Muslim group, inshallah, okay? So it's going on the brother side and the sister side. Again, for only new Muslims, not for someone who's been Muslim or, whatever it might be. This is specifically for our new Muslim brothers and sisters, right? That want to join in this, inshallah. Because this is for updates and any type of clarifications, changing of classes, timings, and so forth, inshallah. Question? Okay. Any questions regarding that? Everybody on the same page? Okay, so it's going around. So if you guys do get it, just kindly fill it in. And please also, how many of you are not getting our emails? From the outreach department. Who is not getting the outreach emails for like this class and other announcements? That means everyone's getting it? Okay, perfect. I just need to see a yes or a no. Yes, everyone's getting it? Okay, perfect. That being because this is how we notify and inform people of what's going on, right? So when that sign-up sheet is going around, just kindly fill in that information legibly, please, legibly, so I can read it. I get back to the office and I can't read the handwriting and stuff, right? Because this way I can send you the notes. So part 4, I send to anybody's handwriting that I can read and who I can remember, I send it to you. If you didn't get the PowerPoint slides, then just make sure you write your email down. Just typically every Sunday, just write it down. So this way I can always just keep sending it to you guys, inshallah, okay? Is that okay? So this way you can follow along, okay? Perfect. How's everyone doing? Brothers, you're outnumbered once again, brothers. Once again. You're like triple outnumbered or something. So, but it's very happy to see all you guys coming and the brothers as well. So again, please stay till the end. We have some really special and important announcements. And I want everybody to hear that, inshallah. Okay, Taib, let's get started. And as we get started, we're talking about the life of the Prophet Muhammad, also known as the seerah, the biography, the life of who the Prophet Muhammad is, peace be upon him. So we want to do our best to understand who he is and his life and things about the Prophet Muhammad. This is an overview, meaning we can't hit every fine detail, but we'll have an overview to understand his life. So that's why it's very important, my brothers and my sisters, to make sure that you attend class every Sunday as possible, as much as possible, because you don't want to miss it. If for some reason you are missing it, just remember it's being live streamed as well, right? So you can always go back, watch the videos, catch up, and then come to class as well. Okay? Good? Okay, perfect. Inshallah. I see some very good faces, mashallah. I haven't seen it in a while. But I see Brother Nixon, I see Brother Ahmad. Inshallah. Everyone here, blessed. Thank you so much. Okay, we left off last week at basically the Prophet Muhammad starts to get revelation, right? So he's married at this time, he has a family, he starts to go on what you call retreats or spiritual retreats. He goes in this cave, right? And in the cave, he is having retreats. He's thinking about the purpose of life. Okay. He's thinking about his purpose of life. He's overlooking Mecca. He's looking at all the immorality, the different things that are going on, people ripping people off, drunkenness, fightings, killings, all these different things going on, right? He's reflecting and saying, you know what? What's the purpose of life? What's going on here? He's thinking deeply, right? Then the angel Gabriel comes, reveals to him the first 5 verses of the Quran, right? And then from there he rushes to his wife. He tells his wife, this is what happened to me. She covers him, right? They go to Khadija, his wife. They go to her cousin. His cousin's name was? Yes, Warqa ibn Nawfal. Very important. Why I'm asking is I would love for you guys to try to remember these names, because he was of what religion at this time? Christianity. But when we talk about Christianity, at this time is something that was closer to the Muslim perspective of Jesus than what it is today. That's why when the message came to him, he understood it, and this is why we say he's one of the first Muslims. Because though there was no specific shahada or declaration at this time, he basically said in a translation that he was of old age and he was blind, right? He said, if I live to see this time, or when they're going to kick you out of the city and so forth, I will support you, right? And so the Prophet said later on that Warqa is in Jannah, he's in paradise, meaning he's a Muslim. He's testifying for this. But did he offer any specific prayers like how we offer? Did he maybe do the Hajj or the Zakah or anything like that? No. So the question is, don't you think, like how we mentioned last week, that there are many people like this outside these double doors right now, that understand the fundamentals, but they just don't know it's called Islam. But they're just waiting for someone to do what? Talk to them about Islam. Present to them what is Islam. That's it. One flyer. One flyer can change your life. One bumper sticker can change your life. Right? Something can change your life. Many things can change your life. So be active, right? We want to always be proactive, okay? So let's continue from this point then now, right? The prophet is now an actual prophet because he's getting revelations, right? And you have to understand this is very, is a volume too loud? So it's okay. I always have to ask because this one is hard to tell, okay? Why this is very important is because revelation, right, ceased, it paused. From when to when? Who can help me out? Somebody new though, please. To the Prophet Muhammad, right? So who came before the Prophet Muhammad? The Prophet Jesus, or we say Isa. May God's peace be upon him, right? And 570 years after, this is when the Prophet Muhammad was born. 40 years after that, in 610 is when approximately he was receiving revelation. So for about 610 years, revelation was paused. Thank you so much. The revelation was paused. It was seized. Okay? Now you see the revelations coming back. God's message is coming back. Though guidance was there in pockets and here and there, but revelation as we know it starts to come back. Okay? Now, the next few surahs or chapters was Muzammil, chapter 73, and Surah Mudassir. Okay? That's chapter 74. It speaks about praying. Okay? Now, one might ask, and this is very interesting, when you look at the reason how certain revelations came, what time they came, and how the context of the life of the Prophet is beautiful. Because at this time, the revelations of prayer, when you look at these chapters 73 and 74, you find a good bulk of it talking about prayer. Why would prayer be so important, even though it is on the PowerPoint slide? Without looking at the slide, why would it be so important? Dale. Yes, communication with the Creator, right? With Allah, because now he knows the Prophet Muhammad has been chosen as a prophet, right? You think this is going to be an easy task? Or is this going to be a hard task? Hard task. So thus, we find that in the prayer, he's getting closer to Allah. Allah is going to prepare him for his mission that's to come. What is a very important lesson right now? Remember, when you go through the life of the Prophet, don't just read it. Don't just gloss through it. Pause and understand what is going on. This is so deep because this is the Prophet, one individual, right? Now a few of his family members accepted Islam. They're going to start calling people to Allah, to Tawheed, which is what? Monotheism, one God, right? But the Prophet in the first chapters, because remember the Quran wasn't revealed in chronological order. It would be a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and then it was constructed to what we know as the Quran today, right? By the divine order of Allah. Now, when these verses come, and these chapters come specifically talking about prayer, it's so important because the Prophet is about to undergo and take this very important mission. He needs whose assistance? Allah. Think about it. Why is that an important lesson for you and I today? When you have a very challenging time or an important time in life, you should always be close to Allah. But this is telling us from the life of the Prophet that you need to really be close to Allah via the prayer, the physical salah, the prayer. So important. right? But we could have just glossed right through it. Oh, the first few verses about this, okay. No, pause. Think about how the prayer is so significant. That's why after the shahada, the declaration of faith, the first pillar, the next pillar is what? Salah, the prayer. It's so important, right? It's very important. That's why when somebody becomes Muslim, the next most important thing they try their best to do is to learn how to pray. And you find that very clearly here. He's a prophet. The first verses, amongst the beginning verses, are those that are talking about prayer. Everybody with me? Okay, good. Okay. So now we learn about different stages of the early revelations, right? Is what is mentioned on the board, on the screen here, right? Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, so you find in the first verses about iqra, about reading, reciting, knowledge, and so forth. Then you see about the prayer, right? The second one being about the prayer generally. This third phase now, we're going to be talking about something called da'wah. So we talk about that a lot. Da'wah meaning outreach, talking to other people about Islam, informing them, educating them about Islam, right? These are the different stages that is coming in generally, okay? Now, in Surah Al-Mudassir, chapter 74, verse 2, it speaks about a verse God commands, and He says, stand up and warn. Because remember, before this, the Prophet was doing what? Was he out there conveying this message to the masses? Right, secretly, right? And even before Islam, he would keep it to himself. Whereas others in society, those that are known as Hanif, or those that turned away from polytheism, they were still, at some point, they were talking to other people. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he wasn't really open about it at that time. But now Allah is saying, no, arise and warn. Warn them about Allah, about Islam, about the Day of Judgment. This is what we're getting to right now, okay? He cannot anytime, or he can't be isolated anymore. He cannot just keep to himself anymore. Again, very important lesson for us today. Why? If this is about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, how about you and I? Why is this such an important lesson for us today? Just on this specific point right here, about this verse, just the second verse in chapter 74, arise and warn. Exactly. Follow his example, right? Our example is who? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So what he does, we try our best by putting our best foot forward and trying to do what he did, right? He is now one individual, handful of Muslims on the face of this planet that are calling people to one God. But he's going to do it. He's going to build and muster up the courage. So you and I need to also do that. When you read through the life of the Prophet, you find so many examples of him going, obviously talking to people about Islam. That's his mission, is to talk to people, educate them, inform them about the purpose of life. That the life has to have a purpose. Your life has to have a purpose. If your shoes have a purpose, your laptop has a purpose, your cat has a purpose, then you should also have a purpose. Okay? This is what we're trying to get to as best as possible. Okay? So this phase generally is known as like the private call, meaning start to talk to people, but it's done in a very important and strategic way. And that is to start with your closest family members or the closest people that you know. This is very important. Why? We learn a lot of lessons from this, okay? Because you're going and you're going to start talking to a society that might not be ready for change so sudden. Everybody with me? They've been taking part in idol worship maybe for a long time, right? Now for the Prophet Muhammad to come, peace be upon him, and to start to say, okay, no more worshiping multiple gods, worship one God. This transition in society is going to be tough. That's why he starts off with his immediate family. He starts off rising and warning his immediate family. He starts with his wife. We already know his wife was basically a Muslim. Again, there's no quote shahada at this time, but for her to believe in him, for her to comfort him, for her to say that, when the presence came in the cave, she basically said, look, you're someone that doesn't lie, you don't cheat, you don't cut people off, you don't cheat people out of money and so forth. And she's believing. And then she takes him to Waraqah ibn Nawfal. This is basically saying, look, I support you and I believe in you. So we say Khadija was one of the first Muslims along with Waraqah, okay? Now, she's convinced, meaning she's a Muslim. Now, let's pause again. Right? In these talks, I don't like to just bore you to death by talking. I want to make it a two-way street. Why? Okay, only a few verses were revealed at this time. And I understand I repeat myself a lot, but the reason why I repeat myself a lot is so that people will just it will be ingrained in your memory. So when somebody asks you, You can answer the question. I remember a professor in college, one of the things he did a lot was just say something and he would just keep saying it. He's really repetitive in what he was saying. And I didn't really understand this in the first few weeks of that course. But then as the course started to continue, and then the years after that, I started to remember what he said, and it fit so perfectly. So that's why if you think I'm going crazy or something, it's not that I'm going crazy. I just want to make sure that everybody tries to understand what we're talking about. Now, being the first few verses, only the first few verses of the Quran were revealed at this time, very small amounts, right? His family starts to accept. Khadija, his wife, his kids, right, start to accept. Those that are close to him start to accept. Why? Somebody new, please. Somebody new. And I don't want to call on people, so why? Why would people start to acknowledge the Prophet as a messenger when only first few, just no scientific miracles, we talk about scientific miracles, we talk about this thing, we talk about that thing, all that is good, but in this case, right, very few verses. Thank you, very good. He was known as being someone who's al-amin, the trustworthy. He was honest in his character. We talked about this, remember the last few weeks. Why is this so important for us today? Especially if you're someone who's a new Muslim or recently converted to Islam. Why is it so important? This example right now. Is right? Exactly. You have to lead by example because if you're someone who's a new Muslim, you might be the only Muslim in your family. So who do you think your family is going to turn to when they want to learn about Islam? Apart from like Fox News and CNN. They're probably going to turn to you guys, right? And if your character is not on point, your manners are not on point, your behavior is not there, then what do you think they're going to think about Islam? Oh yeah, Bill O'Reilly is right. And this person on Fox is right. And CNN is right. And ABC is right. You understand what I'm saying? The Prophet, the only few verses were revealed, but because of his character, of how people knew him before Islam, is Al-Amin, the trustworthy. They used to entrust their money, their savings, their transactions, many things with him. So that when Prophet,
even after Islam.
Yeah, even after Islam, they trusted him, right? So this is very important, that for you and I, we also have to have a good character. Not to just, have our shirt to say, I am Muslim, so I am going to help you today and look at me. That's not the point. The point is not for like fame or something. Your sincerity, your ikhlas has to be for Allah, for God. Because sometimes we get into this whole, okay, we're going to feed the homeless people, but I want to make it a big PR kind of thing. Like I want to, just people look at me to do it, and I'm not really doing it for the genuine reasons. That's not right. It's like when you donate. When you donate for Allah. You don't donate for the people to see you. If the people see you, that's fine, right? But you don't do it for that reason. Intention is very important. That's why when you open up the books of hadith, the books of the statements of the Prophet, you will have it starting off by the author or whoever's talking about these hadiths or statements about the intention. Because it's all about the intention. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay, good. Okay, so we just talked about all this, right? Also, Khadija was a prophet for many years. So, for this to develop 15 years approximately, this is very important. And it's going to lead me to my next point because the household accepted Islam, right? But why this is important when the household accepts Islam, right? Let's try to derive some benefit here, okay? When the household accepts Islam, this is a good sign because today, what do you find? You usually find things on the contrary. When people are running for office, when people are part of cults or militias or whatever it might be, generally you will find their own family members coming out and speaking out against them. Are you with me? You find many a times, those same politicians, you might not see it on the front page, but when you dig a little bit deeper, they'll have it there. A lot of it has to do with, obviously, money, right? And ratings and so forth. Many of those same individuals that are running for office, no one in specific, or politicians or anything like that, you will find many of their family members speaking out against them. Trying to cover things up sometimes, right? But here you find something on the opposite, the contrary. You actually find the household accepting, right? Because if someone did not want to accept, the one that probably wouldn't accept would be those that live with them. Because they say, you know what, I know him, I live with him, and he says one thing, but he does something else. You do one thing, you do something else. That's why when you really want to know someone, it's not just hi and bye here at the mosque or something like that. When you travel with the individual, when you stay with the individual for a few days, you really start to see the personality of the individual, right? When you get married, that's a whole different subject, right? We won't even go there. But when you get married, right, it's you start to learn about one another a lot more because you're spending all the time together, right? That's why there's compromises. That's where Islam is so beautiful and how it gives advice from the life of the Prophet about how to maintain marriage and relationship and so forth, right? So this is a very important concept, okay? The next individual who accepted after the household, everybody with me so far? I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, not trying to make it hard, but I want to make sure that I try to cover and elaborate where I need to elaborate, okay? Next point, the next person who accepted was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Abu Bakr being at this time the close friend of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay? Now, he was the next one that accepted Islam, right? And it's a very interesting story because when the Prophet went up to him and talked to him about Islam, did he take time to accept the message or did he accept the message instantaneously? Very quickly accepted Islam, right? And this is very interesting because you find when people talk to other people about Islam, there's like a spectrum. Some take a long time, a really long time. Some, they just need about 5, 10, 20 minutes, right? Abu Bakr is a very clear example of someone who just accepted Islam when he heard about it. Because again, it goes back to who? The Prophet Muhammad, right? And what about the Prophet Muhammad? His character, about who he was. At this time, again, there's just some verses of the Quran that are being revealed, and which is very important, but a lot of it has to do with the character of how individuals are carrying themselves, right? So Abu Bakr accepts Islam, and this is very big for Islam at this time because, again, short group of people, not a big amount, not that many Muslims, right? But now, with the addition of Abu Bakr, he's someone who has a noble lineage, because remember, in tribal society, lineage is very important. Who you come from, your family background is very important, right? He was also a businessman, so he had a lot of, he had like a position in society, if you may, right? Also, Abu Bakr is someone who is known to be a very humble person, but also to give a lot of charity. To also give and help people, pre-Islam. This is a very important point because whoever Allah wants to guide will guide. But you will find, and I find this so many times, when people accept Islam, there's always something about their lifestyle before Islam that when you look at it, you're like, Allah knows best, but maybe this is the reason why God guided you. There's someone that used to always give charity. There's someone used to maybe help at a convalescent center with old age women or old age men or both. There might be someone that helped foster youth. There's always something about them. There's someone they were very good to their parents. Or maybe someone that went through a lot of tests in life, but they never lost hope of the mercy of Allah. Isn't that amazing? You take a survey. It would be so interesting to take a survey. Everyone who's accepted Islam, right? You'll find there's something about, obviously everybody has these qualities, right? Many people have qualities, but Allah guides whoever He wants to guide. I mean, those people that are trying to do their best, you see Allah guiding them, right? And Allah guides whoever else He wants to guide to, even people that oppose Islam. But those generally, when you go to the life of the Prophet, that kept it above the belt, that basically means that they didn't resort to really horrific or low-class tactics against the Prophet. Those that kept it above the belt, enemies, they were also guided to Islam. Think about it. It's very interesting, right? Even an enemy can be an honorable enemy because they maintain rules, they maintain criteria, versus those that go below the belt and take cheap shots and so forth, right? So this is Abu Bakr. Now, when Abu Bakr accepts Islam, right, he instantaneously accepts Islam. Again, a very important lesson for us, for those, if one is thinking about Islam, that one shouldn't delay too long. No doubt, you cannot be forced Islam. Nobody can force you. It's your choice. But at the same time, you don't want to delay too long because you don't know how long you're going to live, right? So when you come to that conclusion, one should do their best to make that decision, right? Now, Abu Bakr is so interesting because the moment he accepts Islam, he starts to call people that he knows to Islam. This is so important because we can derive many benefits. One of them is that he called, so the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he would tell certain people that they were granted paradise, right? By the permission of Allah, right? 6 out of the 10 people that were granted paradise, Abu Bakr called them to Islam. 6 out of the 10, right? So at times the Prophet, because of certain things that individuals did or the sacrifices they made, by God's permission, the Prophet Muhammad would say, you're guaranteed paradise. Right? 6 out of the 10 people that were given this title of those that inherit paradise, 6 out of the 10, Abu Bakr called them to Islam. I ask you a question, yeah? How much of Islam did Abu Bakr know at this time? Or how much of the Quran did Abu Bakr know? Not much, right? Think about it. Did he know a lot? But it didn't keep him from going and talking to people about Islam. Think about today, right? Those people that are like scholars today, or those that are calling people to Islam today, right? That are new Muslim or have a convert background, right? Many people like that. If you don't know, many people that are on the speakers scene right now internationally, many of them have a new Muslim background. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it might be, right? We have many from this community as well, or a few from this community, right? Now, imagine the one that called them to Islam. Who's going to get all this reward about them traveling the world? Take for example, Yusuf Estes. You guys are familiar with Sheikh Yusuf Estes, right? Someone who's been at a mosque many times. You know the individual, do you know his story, how he came to Islam? Yeah. Very fascinating. You know the person who called him to Islam? You think he was a scholar? No. He was a layman, average, just a Muslim. Just a person who was doing business, and then they so happened to have a business agreement or something with Sheikh Yusuf Estes and so forth. Sheikh Yusuf at that time was a very devout Christian. And he was like, I'm going to preach to you the Bible and so forth. And the guy basically said, look, if you can prove to me your religion is true, I would love to listen to it. And then Sheikh Yusuf was like, oh, proof. No, it's blind faith. You just got to believe. He's like, belief is great, but how about if I told you there's belief, but there's some type of understanding and reasoning behind it? This is where the story started with Sheikh Yusuf Estes. So much so now, by permission of Allah, he's called so many people to Islam. So many people to Islam. You go on YouTube, you'll find him by Allah's permission again, right? You be humble about it, calling so many people to Islam. But imagine the individual that called him to Islam. You see, so this investment of da'wah, calling people to Islam, right, is beautiful. But you have to be, when you're doing that, you have to be gentle, you have to be polite, right? You have to have good character. You don't force people. Because when you force someone, do you think they're going to stay Muslim? And that's not even part of Islam, right? It's kind of like one individual he was a really good da'i meaning somebody calling people to Islam, right? He was really good. So I don't know if I mentioned this last week or the week before. He was bringing a lot of people to Islam, right? So somebody asked him, what's your trick? What do you do? Tell us so we can be like you. What do you listen to? What did you memorize? You know what he said? Very humble and sincere, but you know what he said? He said, these people, they're my people. And I love them. And I don't want any harm to happen to them. Can you imagine that? How many people today, just take a survey for yourself, you don't need to answer. How many of you feel like that for your neighbor? If your neighbor ran outside their home on fire, what would you do? Remember, it's on camera, so please. What would you do, honestly? You would help. You'll call 911, you try to get water, you try to get your hose, whatever. You try to do something, right? Would any of you just look at them and just say, yeah, go ahead? I hope you wouldn't, right? That's the same analogy that they're people that are lost. There are people that just don't know their purpose in life. They need guidance. Whatever lifestyle they came from, whatever they're doing, maybe deep down inside, they hate what they're doing. Maybe they hate it with a passion, but they have no other alternative, or they don't know someone. Maybe they didn't grow up in a family that had support. Maybe they didn't have a family growing up. Look at the Prophet Muhammad, he didn't have a family, right? He was orphaned at a young age, no mother, no father. Sometimes, in life today, people make decisions. That's why you don't judge people. You don't know who's going to be the next scholar. You don't know who's going to be the next individual that's going to be of those in the community that are calling people to Islam. So very important lesson for us, right? So Abu Bakr, he did this without the Prophet telling him to. The Prophet didn't have to tell him, hey, Abu Bakr, go and tell. No, he knew that this message is good, and I want to share this message. That's why you find him starting to talk to a lot of people. Any questions? Everybody okay? Okay. So at this time, the religion as how we know it was called Islam. And those that followed the religion were called Muslims, right? So basically Islam means, as we defined many times, Islam means, if you really define it, peace acquired by submission and surrender to the Creator, to Allah. That's what Islam means. Islam is a way of life. Sometimes, we say it's a religion. Yeah, that's true, but we like to say it's a way of life. Because a way of life gives me structure. from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep, and everything in between. Right? So that's why when I explain this to many people, sometimes when we're doing a tour of the mosque, they say, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, way of life, because that's what I'm looking for. And I don't really look at religion as religion. I would rather look at it as a way of life, right? Giving me some type of order in life, give me some structure in life, right? So, and then the one who follows it is called a Muslim, right? It's so interesting, since we're on the topic of Sheikh Yusuf Estes, right? It's hilarious, right? So one time he was at a radio show. Like, people call in, they have questions. So the topic was about Islam. So you already know there's going to be all this negative thing and this and that. And the host, she, is very interesting. The host herself, as soon as the talk show started, she just started going at it. Sheikh Yusuf, like, what does Islam say about this? What is this? What is the da 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 da? So Sheikh Yusuf, he's really good. If you know, he's really knowledgeable. He knows how to take care of. So he answered questions, so forth, right? But fast forward till the end. So they walk out. The session is over. They're walking out, right? Now this lady, who's a radio show host, she asked him a question. And look at this question. It's so funny, right? So interesting. She says to the Sheikh Yusuf Estes, right? She says, Sheikh Yusuf, just want to ask you a question. After she just tried to attack Islam, she says, I just want to ask you a question. Are you Islam or are you Muslim? Why is that funny? I'm laughing too, but why is it funny? There's something wrong here, right? It's like me saying, are you Christian or are you Christianity? Are you Buddhist or are you Buddhism? It doesn't make sense, right? So Islam is a way of life. The one who follows it is called a Muslim. That's why sometimes when people want to have a negative understanding towards Islam or they want to attack you, when you just ask them simple things like, can you just, prime example, somebody will ask you about, what is jihad? What is jihad, right? They'll ask you. You know what one of my first responses is? First I'll say, the J word you mean? The J word, right? But then I'll tell them, I say, can you define to me what does jihad mean? You know how many of them actually know what jihad means? How many you think? Out of like 10 people, how many you think will actually know? They don't even know that sometimes. Yeah, they'll think holy war or something like that, but they don't even know what it means. So many a times, again, like I said, right? Don't always be on the defensive. Don't always try to answer questions. You can do that, but all you have to do is just turn the tables and ask them. Many times they have no idea what they're talking about. They ask you about jihad. Okay, what does jihad mean? You tell me. I don't know, I'm asking you now. So they try to turn it, no, you tell me, Jamal. No, I'll tell you, but why don't you tell me first? You find many times they don't know. So all you have to do is just turn the tables, inshallah, okay? So keep that in mind. Islam means a peace acquired by submission to God. The one who submits is the one who's called a Muslim. And I put on here something called, we talked about this many times. Again, I want to make sure we all understand it. How many of you had a Christian or Catholic background before Islam? Or maybe even if you're a guest here today. If you can just raise your hand for me. Wow. Wow, that's like 70% of class, inshallah. Okay, I mean, that's accurate, right? It was the majority of class have a Christian or a Catholic background. I ask you that because that leads me into this point. In Christian theology, right, and even if you're of a Catholic background, right, any denomination, you have something called the Lord's Prayer, generally, called the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is very central in Christian theology, in the Christian belief, okay? What is the Lord's Prayer? Generally is this, especially if you're giving dawah, it's really important to know this because it's a good way to have similarities, right, when you're talking to somebody. The Lord's Prayer basically was when the disciples of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, we say Isa, right, in the Arabic language, but the disciples, according to the Bible, they came up to Jesus Christ and they asked him, "Oh Rabbi, teach us how to pray." Rabbi means a teacher, right? Teach us how to pray. So what did Jesus Christ, Isa alayhi salam, what did he respond by saying? The Lord's Prayer. This is the Lord's Prayer. What is the Lord's Prayer? He said, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread." And the verse goes on, right? Let's pause real quick. It was so funny. One time it was just like this, and the sheikh walked in. He's like, "Jamal, like, you teaching, what are you teaching?" Right? So it's very interesting, right? I was like, no, we're teaching dawah, how to talk to people, right? He's like, okay. He was just joking around too, but it was really interesting because just imagine like Sheikh Faqih walks in right now, he's like, "Jamal, what are you teaching," right? So let's dissect the Lord's Prayer real quick, right? Because as a Muslim, we have no problem with it. In context, Jesus Christ says, "Our Father who art in heaven," not here, "who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name," not my name, thy name. Thy kingdom come. Not my kingdom, not Jesus. Thy kingdom, God's kingdom. Thy will be done on earth, meaning whatever you want to happen on earth, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does this mean, this line? Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does this mean? Somebody help me out. What is Jesus saying here? Thy, listen to me again, carefully. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does that mean?
God's will is universal. That whatever He wants to happen on earth is the same thing that He will command in heaven.
Yeah, so whatever He wants to happen is going to happen, right? Whatever you say after, I don't care. Just stop right now. You did good. Right, no, I'm just joking. What does that translate to today? There's one word I'm looking for. We just went over it. It's on the PowerPoint right now. Connect the dots. Come on, guys. All I hear is somebody help me out. And I'm just trying to make it a good time. I don't mean to offend anyone by that. I heard it here somewhere. Surrender, right? Which is called Islam. Do you see where I'm going with this? The Lord's Prayer is nothing than Jesus saying Islam. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven is basically saying, oh Allah, I'm surrendering to you. I'm submitting to you. That means he's a Muslim and he's bringing the way of life of Islam. As a Muslim, you have no problem with that in context. So when you explain this to someone, many a times, and I'll be very honest with you, people, they say, okay, that makes sense. And then you have opened up the door of positive conversation, not a debate. Just like when somebody tells you, why do you say Allah? Why don't you say God? There's a video coming up. Actually, I'll save it. I'd rather not give you the answer because it's a better answer for Leaf, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were saying the Lord's Prayer, wouldn't that indicate that Jesus was a prophet and not God?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because he's saying, I surrender to you, God. I submit to you, God, right? That's why in prayer, when you raise your hand, we talked about this, right? Just reviewing. You say, Allahu Akbar, you're doing what? You're surrendering. I'm just overdoing it, right? You're surrendering, you're submitting, right? And then you're saying, whatever happened in the past, I'm not worried about it. It happened. I learned. Whatever is going to happen in the future, I don't know. You tie your hands and you're worried about what? Right now. Right? That's why to learn the movements of the prayer is very important because it gives you depth in your prayer. That's why the Imam, when he's praying, he says, pray as if this is your last prayer. Because you might die in prayer. So don't worry about the past or the future. You worry about what's happening right now. Then every other position after has a significance as well, right? But let's get back to this from going on like 5 tangents. All right? Okay. So at this time, the Muslims, they would get together. If they could, they would either pray privately, okay? Or sometimes they would pray in front of the Kaaba, especially the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He would pray right in front of the Kaaba, right? And this is a very, again, you can pause and get so many benefits from this right now, right? And that being that this is a very, a big form of da'wah, right? Big form of outreach that you're actually praying. That's why, like, many times when it's time for prayer, if you see people praying outside of the mosque, like sometimes at work or at college campus or wherever it might be in the park, many people came to Islam by that initiation. They're like, what are you doing? One time it's so funny. One of the sisters was praying. I just heard the story. She was praying and she went down into the ruku', which is a bowing, right? A lady ran to her and just tried to help her out because she thought she was throwing up. She thought she was like throwing up. Everybody started laughing. It was like funny, right? But she said, and she's like, bless your heart. But she was like, I couldn't say anything because I was finishing my prayer. But then she was like, bless her heart, because she thought she was like throwing up because she was in bowing, right? But she was just going into the bowing position. So you find stories like this where people are sincere, but they just they don't know it's Islam. Another story, right? One time there was like a dawah table, a table like this, and people were talking to other people about Islam. Okay, on there it says whatever slogan they had, right? And then it says free Quran. Okay, like a free Quran, right? Somebody comes up to the table and says, what did Quran do? You guys get it? What's help me out. Yeah, they thought Quran was a person who was incarcerated, right? This is the society that we're living in right now. The people don't even know what the Quran is. They think it's an individual that's locked up. And so free Quran is a petition that we're signing or something like that. This is the society that we live in, right? So again, do your best to inform, educate people about Islam, so we live in a society where they know what the Quran is, and it's not something that's like, that's what they wanted to say, right? Okay. Okay, next point. Everybody okay? Everybody's on the same page? Feel free, again, if anybody needs to excuse themselves to use the restroom or get coffee or tea, you're not disrupting the class, it's okay. So help yourself, inshallah. So now there's two basic phases of the Quran or the life of the Prophet. Okay? The Meccan phase, things that happen in Mecca, and the Madani phase, or Medina, things that happen in Medina. Generally, even those you can break up, right? But generally, there's two phases of the Prophet's life, the Meccan phase and the Medinan phase, okay? We're in the what phase right now? What phase? Mecca, right? Because he's in Mecca, so we're talking about the Meccan phase. So for about approximately 13 years, he received revelation in Mecca, about 13 years. The remainder 10 years he received in Medina. That is a total of 23 years, right? He was a prophet at the age of 40, plus 23 years of prophethood. He died approximately 63 years of age, approximately, okay? 23 years of revelation, 13 and 10. Now, when it comes to Mecca, or the Meccan phase, is very important because when you look at the verses of they call it the Meccan verses. Sometimes, when you're reading the translation of the Quran, some translations might say that this is a Makki surah, meaning a surah that was revealed in Mecca, or part of it in Mecca, or a Madani surah is revealed in Medina. That's why pay close attention when you're reading the verses, what it says sometimes in the index or in the footnotes, something like that, right? Why this is important is because in the Meccan phase, the verses and the surahs generally were about who Allah is, His names and attributes, Judgment Day, right? Heaven and hellfire, love for Almighty God. All these things about building the foundation. And it's so important because, again, you learn so many lessons from this, right? Because the wife of the Prophet, Prophet's wife Aisha, she said if the first few verses were about halal and haram, plus or minus the translation, meaning if it was about things that are permissible and things that are not permissible, like don't drink, don't fornicate, don't do this, don't do that, right? If generally these first few verses of the Quran were about this, nobody would have accepted. Nobody would have accepted this message of Islam. This is the wife of the Prophet saying this, who was there during the time of revelation. When the Prophet used to get revelation, she was there. She's saying if the first few verses, Yarhamakullah, God bless you. She was saying that if the first few verses of the Quran were about things that are permissible and not permissible, people would not have accepted. Right? Why is this important? Because the first few verses of the Quran were about what? Was it about putting on the hijab? Was it about your beard being down to your ankle? Was it about all these other things? No. You know why? Because the first few verses were about the things that I just mentioned, about first knowing who Allah is. Why? Because when your heart's foundation is strong, then when the rules come, you can take it. But if the rules come first, but there's no foundation, you're going to be like, there's too many rules, too many regulations, too many policies, too many this and that. But you see why the companions were so dedicated to Islam? Because the best of teachers was teaching them, the Prophet Muhammad. And who taught the Prophet Muhammad? Allah. Who inspired him divinely? Allah. You see? So when he started to get revelations, these revelations were about who Allah is. Because how can I love Allah if I don't know who Allah is? How can I seek Jannah, heaven, if I don't know what the next life is all about? But I'm going to talk about halal and haram, right? This is why the foundation... Oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah. This is why the foundation of the early verses were about these things and not about rules. The rules came then when he went to Medina, because now everything was established. The Islamic community was starting to be established. They needed rules, generally, right? Why is this so important for us today?
So relevant on how we learn as well.
Right.
Relevant to us, slowly is a better way to do it. Learning slowly.
Sure. Exactly. So what our sister said is very important, especially if you're someone who's a new Muslim or came to Islam or convert for many years, whatever it might be. And remember, when I use these terms, I don't mean it, I hope nobody takes offense. I mean this because you're my brothers and sisters, but I want to make sure specifically that even myself, I consider myself like a new Muslim. I came back to Islam about 7 years ago. I was born into a Muslim family, but I wasn't really practicing like the way one should until about 7 years ago. So I consider myself a new Muslim too. So just want to clarify, when I say that, I don't mean offense to anybody. So I hope nobody takes offense, okay? But if you do have this new Muslim background, why this is important is because when you first start to learn about Islam, I mean, it can rub off such a wrong way when somebody comes up to you and tells you, man, your hijab is too bright. Or you're not wearing the right clothes. Or I have a million things. You use your imagination, right? So if somebody comes into the masjid and you're the one that makes them go back outside the masjid and never come back in the mosque, what are you going to say on the Day of Judgment? Right? That's why when you're working with someone who's new to Islam, and it's not just in Islam, it's anything in life. You know, the first day of your job, if you're a smart manager or supervisor or lead, are you going to just bombard your new employee with everything? No, because what's going to happen? They're probably going to turn around and say, you know, I can do something else. Then you got to go to the interview process again. So if you're wise in your understanding, you ease them into the work. Islam is the same thing. Now, I can't say by this day you put on the hijab and by this day you do this. No, but you try your best. It's not really a sprint where you burn yourself out. It's more like a marathon where you're going to get there, right? But there's two extremes, right? One is either you don't do anything and you just sit at home and be lazy and say, I accepted God, but now I'm just going to let things fall from the sky. You know, I'll learn everything. That's one extreme. What will be the other extreme? You do too much. And then you burn yourself out. And I'm very concerned with this end of it. Because, you know, when you accept Islam, when you become a new Muslim, you have a lot of energy and passion. Which is good, because you research maybe for a day, 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, whatever it might be. You have a lot of passion. But the thing is, you burn yourself out by trying to do too much overnight. You try to do everything overnight. And then what happens is, instead of it being a lifelong commitment, 2 weeks later, we don't see you at the mosque anymore. 2 months later, you don't see you at the mosque. And this is a reality. And sometimes the community members have to share a responsibility because they're making it so hard for a new Muslim to learn about Islam. Right? And think about it. If you're in that category of making it hard for people, right, or making people go away by you asking them some type of question or making them feel uncomfortable, you're going to be accountable, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, what are you going to tell Allah? You're going to meet Allah. That's a very, if you know about what happens on the Day of Judgment, specifically on the Day of Judgment, do you know how long the day is? 50,000 years. The Day of Judgment, 50,000 years. And you know where the sun will be on that day? The sun is going to be not like how it is right now. They say 93 million miles away or light years away, whatever. It's going to be hovering right over your head, basically. Okay? And you're going to be sweating in accordance to how much sin or mischief you cause here on earth. So some people will be sweating up to their ankles, some up to their knees, some to their thighs, some might be drowning in sweat. But there are those that will be under the shade of the throne of Allah the day there is no shade. 7 groups of people. And maybe on another session, I would love to do a talk on this because it needs a whole session. 7 groups of people will be under His mercy, basically. Can you imagine that? That's what your homework is going to be, to find out who are these 7 individuals or 7 groups of people. Okay? Okay, so let's move forward, inshallah. But I just hope, at that point makes sense, inshallah. Okay, it's not 3:30, right? Okay. I was like, whoa. I know we're going to go that time. And Asr, I think now is 3:30, correct? 3:30? Yeah. 2:30? 3:30. Yeah. Otherwise, we have to stop right now. No, I mean, the time we prayed, the congregation, I'm sorry. So, let me clarify. The time it kicks in is probably right now, but I think they pray in congregation about 3:30. Correct? Okay. Jade, 3:30? Okay. Sumaya, you had a question? 3:30. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know. Let's just check the website. Sorry. I appreciate it. Jazakallah khair. I can't offhand. I won't know all 7, right? I know a few of them, but I prefer you guys do your homework on it. But it's, okay, a few of them, Sister Sumaya asked a question. Maybe we can do it even as a class. The 7 groups of people. Who knows the 7 groups that will be under the shade of Allah? Not everybody at one time, please. Sister Najwa. You know all 7? MashaAllah. You made it easier for me. Okay, you have to translate. A just ruler, but I'll help you. But you translate, inshallah. Okay. Somebody help her out? I can't hear over here. Yeah. Okay. First one was a just ruler, someone who's just. Second one is someone who frequents the masjid and loves the masjid and makes it something that's dear to them. Huh? Yes. Another one, third category is someone that turns down, like someone who makes a sexual advance at them and they have a title or they have a position. If at that time you say, I fear Allah, that right there gives you that shade on 50,000 years, a day that's 50,000 years. Right? Because that itself is a big test. Okay, so that's number 3. 4? Yeah, somebody new. Love each other for the sake of Allah. So when you get together and you love each other for the sake of Allah and you part for the sake of Allah, right? We got to keep that in mind too when you part as well. That's 4. Everybody with me? Try to invest. This is your investment. When you talk about stocks, look at this halal investment here, right? 50,000 years, brothers and sisters, imagine this. 50,000 years, but if you can invest in something like this and be consistent, it'll be amazing. Yes? Wait, somebody else. Charity. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. When you give with your right hand that your left hand doesn't know, or when you give something, your other hand doesn't know. Meaning, when you give for the sake of Allah, you give without letting other people see you or without you kind of making a big deal about it, inshallah. Tangent here, because some people think that, okay, then you cannot donate in public. So let's just clarify real quick. You know, sometimes when there's a live fundraiser for the masjid or something, sometimes it's encouraged for you to openly donate because it's going to encourage other people to do so as well. But you should not be arrogant about it. It's all about the intention, right? But generally, yes, that's the 5th one, right? We have 2 more, almost there. He's always remembering Allah and he's crying. Yeah. One who's always in remembrance of Allah, right? And is always deep in and concerned about the meeting with Allah, so much so that, you know, this individual is crying. Meaning someone who's really attached and is concerned about the day he's going to meet Allah. That's 6. We need 1 more. But somebody new, please. Jad, you already did like 4, man. Somebody new, inshallah. If not, then we'll go to it. Who wants to take the last one? The adhan? No. But that's a special thing too. The one who gives adhan, there's a special blessing for them on the Day of Judgment as well. 7? They'll be pleased with them. Also, they'll have extended necks. You're probably like, what? It's a blessing because you'll be able to overlook everything that's happening, right? But this is a blessing. If Allah gives it, I'll take it. It's an extended neck, whatever it is, I'll take it. Because if it's from Allah, there's a lot of benefit behind it. Think about it, right? 7th one. We have to do it quickly. So, okay. Someone, Sister Najwa, you? Yeah. Yeah. We did that one, yeah. But that's good. That's good. Yeah, we did that one. We need 1 more. We did that one, yeah. Good. We need 1 more. Yeah. No, I don't think it's that one. That's a good one. I don't think that's the 7th one. I can't think of it right now either. I'm at a brain freeze right now. 7th one. Somebody Google it. You know, shake Google, and then let me know, inshallah. Okay. So we'll come back to it just because of the time right now, inshallah. Okay. But remember, we did 6 out of 7. The 7th one is coming. But invest in that. But I would like to do a lecture coming up soon. We'll just spend maybe half a session or the whole session on this, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we talked about, we did that one, yeah, inshallah. Okay, so let's stop here just because I have a lot of announcements and I have 2 videos to show, okay? So we're going to stop here. At the end, whoever finds the 7th one, at the end, just let me know. So this way we don't do it right now, but we'll do it at the end, inshallah. Okay. If somebody can just get the lights for me, I would really appreciate it. We can get all of them. Yeah. Okay, so 2 videos I want to show everyone, if we have the time. So just please pay attention, inshallah, and I would love your feedback afterwards or any questions or comments, inshallah.
The first and foremost is a word called Allah.
This is what we were just
Why
talking
do
about.
Muslims say Allah? Why don't they say God like normal people? Well, I got news for those. The first and foremost is a word called Allah. Why do Muslims say Allah? Why don't they say God like normal people? Well, I got news for those who think that all the Christians say God. It's not true. In fact, many Christians say the word Dios because there are so many Spanish-speaking Christians in the world. Many of the Christians are Catholics. South America, Central America, and Mexico, for example, they speak Spanish or Portuguese. If you go to Portugal, of course, Spain, Italy, France, what are they speaking? What are their languages? Do they say God? No. Go to Europe, go to Germany, go to Czechoslovakia, go to some of the other countries. Christians there also don't say God. They have different words for God. Is that true? But every single Muslim on earth uses the word Allah. Do you know that? Every single Muslim on earth, 1.5 billion, all agree that's what we call Allah. And, by the way, all of the Arab Christians also use the word Allah. And the Arab Jews as well. The word Allah is in the Arabic Old Testament, page 1, 17 times. And the word Allah is in the New Testament, Alif Lam Lam Ha. So for the benefit of those who think that there's something wrong with using Allah, it was used before there was the word God. The word God didn't exist even 1,000 years ago because there was no English until the Normans invaded the Saxons in 1066 AD. What did they call him before that? The word Allah means, let's find out the meaning. It comes from the root ilah. Ilah means anything which is worshipped. A rock, a stick, a stone, a bone can be worshipped, right? And you can say Al-Ilah, which means the God, still doesn't bring it to the level of the God as in Allah. In English, you have to see it written down because it's the same word. You have to see the big G or the little G or you didn't know. For the plural in Arabic, gods, Aliha, and this is the plural. English, just puts after anything in English, you got the plural. Gods, right? But when you say Allah, it cannot be made plural, and it cannot have gender. Even though it says he, huwa, in the Arabic, and even though it says we, in the Arabic, nahnu, it's only out of respect and out of royalty, never out of plural and never out of gender. God is not a man, God is not a woman, and he doesn't compare to his creation. And he said, Lam yalid, wa lam yulad, wa lam yakuluhu kufuwan ahad. He's not the son of anything, he's not the father of anything, he doesn't compare to anything, there's nothing compares to him, and he's ahad, one, unique, not like anything else. That's right? Amazing, huh? What's really amazing is that I found a similar verse in the Old Testament in the book called Numbers chapter 23 verse 19. God is not a man that he should sin. And God's not the son of man that he should repent. So there we go. We have some things right there that amazingly we're a lot closer maybe than we think.
Shed some light on what we wanted to talk about real quick. Second video really quick. Again, you can subscribe to this guy, a Merciful Servant. It's a really good, he has a lot of really nice videos.
Brothers and sisters in Islam, who are the saved ones? We are talking about the road to Jannah. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, حُفَّتِ الْجَنَّةُ بِالْمَكَارِهِ وَحُفَّتِ النَّارُ بِالشَّهَوَاتِ. Jannah has been covered with a boundary called the boundary of the things that the human doesn't really like to do. You get irritated, but you don't want to keep doing it. Such as praying 5 times a day, waking up for Fajr. Oh man, taking that, that blanket off. I know this brother, this person, he's got big muscles, goes to gym every day. When it comes time for Fajr, can't lift the blanket. It's too heavy. Because you know why? Although the body needs training, there's something else that needs training too. What is it? The soul. We forgot about the soul. Today the soul has no... People don't even believe in the soul anymore. The soul has its nourishment, and that's why people are miserable. You need to also work on your soul. And Ibn al-Qayyim said, rahmatullah alayh, he said, Wallahi, the soul has the same needs as the body has, but in a different way. Just like the body needs food and nourishment, the soul needs it as well. And the soul, the nourishment of the soul is ibadah, worship. The soul is just like a mirror. When you look at a mirror and you want to portray yourself, the mirror can sometimes get murky and you clean it. And the soul can become murky. And the way you clean it is with dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You polish it all the time. The soul needs its nourishment, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. You know, when I realized that my iman has gone down and my soul has become sick, when I realized that when I see that brother who loves Allah, and I know that when he sees me, he's going to tell me, brother, it's time for salat, right now. And if my iman is down and I feel like I want to delay my salat a bit, and I see this person, I want to run away from him. That's happened to all of us, doesn't it? More when your iman is down, you say, I don't really want to meet this person right now because there's something worldly that I want to do right now. And I know that this person is going to drag me away from my worldly thing, money or whatever it is, to take me to salat on its time. That's when the soul at that point is a little bit sick. And then you like to hang around with the others. Right? We see these youngsters doing that all the time, even older people. So this is a sign. And Jahannam is covered with the boundaries of negative temptations. What your nafs loves, such as selfishness, greed, jealousy, lusts, temptations like that. So if you want to enter hellfire, just follow your nafs. You want to enter Jannah and break that wall, then follow the things which your nafs normally tells you, I don't want. When you nourish your soul enough, wallahi, they become the most sweetest things for you to do. The most sweetest. And every time your nafs tells you, I don't want to do it, you love that feeling. Have you ever heard of people who love the feeling of irritation of their nafs? They look at the nafs and the nafs says to you, don't get up for Fajr now, I'm going to make wudu and I've got to go to the toilet and doing this and do that istinja and I've got to go make wudu. By the way, it only takes about 5 minutes to do all that, right? I timed myself the other day. I was teaching my son, don't worry, wudu is good. Let's time ourselves. Wallahi, it took 2 minutes and a half. Said to him, let's say La ilaha illallah 100 times. He goes, oof, 100 times? Far out, man. Let's time it. Brought the students one day in the masjid at the school. I said, let's do La ilaha illallah 100 times. You know how long it took? Try it yourself. 1 minute and 20 something seconds. 100 times La ilaha illallah in 1 minute and 20 something seconds. They go on their iPad, Allahu Akbar, how long? Now you might be thinking, those damn children, huh? Sorry I said damn, those despicable children. What about the older people? How long do you stay on Facebook? How long do you have the phone in your eyes up until 2 a.m. and then you complain you can't sleep? Of course you can't sleep because the brain now thinks you have to stay awake. What kind of a world do we live in? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. We don't live anymore, nor are we dead. Not living and not dead. Not happy, not... Allahu Alam, what are we? We're nothing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then said, however, the mu'mineen are safe. And so on that day, we will save the mu'mineen. Allah says, will we on that day make the Muslims the same as the criminals? What is wrong with you? How do you judge? Those who are true believers, can they be the same as those who are corrupted? No, no, no. They will never be equal. So my brothers and sisters in Islam, don't be disheartened. Although the world has come in that way, Rasulullah ﷺ did say, there will always be a group of my ummah who will be standing firm on what I have come with. No person, no blamer, no bully, no one can make them change their course. They are firm, alhamdulillah, till the last hour. And if it wasn't for them, Allah would have destroyed the world a long time ago, brothers and sisters in Islam. If it wasn't for them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not keep us going. May Allah make us among them.
All right, what do you guys think? Observations, questions, comments about the videos or the slides or anything like that? You know, you always scare me when there's no questions. That either means you guys understood it or it went way over your head. So I don't know which one it is. So I pray, inshallah, that it all makes sense. And this final part of what was just said right now, that's really important, because we always ask Allah to let us be of those that are from this group that are always standing firm with justice for Islam and conveying this message of Islam to the masses, to other people, inshallah. Okay? So as I mentioned, I had some announcements to make. Okay, where do I start? 2 points before I forget. There's many different Islamic activities that are going on, and we always want all of us to join and take part in these activities, right? Because you want to be part and parcel of the community and the community at large. So there are two specific events, very nice events coming up. One is the Care Banquet, and there the guest speaker is Sheikh Umar Suleiman. So if you know of Sheikh Umar Suleiman, he's amazing. He's a really nice, humble guy, and he's just really good. If you know of him, right? He's going to be one of the guest speakers, along with many other guest speakers. The late Muhammad Ali, may Allah bless him in Jannah. His daughter, I believe, is also coming, and a few other guest speakers. So I know from our class, a few people are going. Who's going to the Care Banquet? Sister Rola's going, Trina's going, Sister Nisha's going. Just raise your hands up high. I just want to, okay, Sarahi's going, Georgina. Okay, so good number of you are going. Anybody? Okay. Amar, are you going? You're like the only one, man, on the brother side. Oh, your father too. Inshallah. So I would love it if you guys got together and make it a night where obviously we don't go to clubs and things like that, right? But you can make it halal night, where the brothers and sisters go to Islamic events like this and have a good time, right? And if you've never been to an event like this, it's really nice because you meet Muslims from all over the world. Not all over the world, but from this area typically, right? So I would encourage you all to go. So for those of you, if you would like more details on it, the flyer is outside. It's a big flyer on our notice board on the left and I think on the right. So take part. If you guys can go, if you can make it, it'll be great. It's coming up soon, and that'll be very interesting, inshallah. Number 2 is the mass annual event that they have, the Muslim American Society. It's like a Thanksgiving Day weekend. It's coming up in a few weeks, and they have is it 3 days still? 3 days. So over 3 days, they have a variety of topics and guest speakers that come, and it's really interesting, right? Even myself, when I was coming back into Islam, this is one of the first events that I went to. It was amazing. I got to meet some really good scholars, some really good people that I sat down with one-on-one. It's like they have, if you have kids, they have babysitting, like a whole camp thing that's going on over there. It's really interesting. So take part in that. Go as a group, the sisters with sisters, brothers with brothers, and take part in these events, because this is how you will understand the message of Islam. It's a holistic understanding. It's not just you praying or fasting and just coming to the mosque. No, you should take part in other activities if you're able to do so. Again, that information should be outside, or if you just Google it, mass event 2016, the information will come up. I think still in Ontario, right? Yeah. Ontario? Oh, you have the flyer? Okay. Oh, mashallah. He doesn't speak Spanish? Oh, I didn't know he speaks Spanish. Allahu Akbar. Is it? MashaAllah. So I just found out. So this year at the Mass Convention, they're actually going to have for the first time sessions in Spanish. So if you are of those that have a Hispanic background or a Spanish background, I would really encourage you to come. And also our own Sheikh Mustafa Omar, who's one of the imams here, the director of education and outreach, he will also be doing a lecture in Spanish. And he's Indian. Or Pakistani, I think. I don't know. right? And he's gonna be. It's really good. It's really interesting. So I think I might just have to go as well to see that, inshallah.
Yeah, so for the people that would like to attend the Spanish sessions,
Yeah.
they're asking to register, and also the registration for the Spanish session is free. So
Okay.
yeah, for the math,
Just as.
for the whole
Yeah.
content, you have to pay and register.
Sure.
But if you want to just attend Spanish, it will be free.
Okay, so the Spanish sessions, the sessions in Spanish, they'll be free, and just they're asking you to register. So just obviously, you just want to register to make sure they have tickets. Secondly, just remember also with any Islamic event, if there's ever some type of fee attached to it, and you're in a position that you cannot afford it, don't let that stop you from going. Don't let that stop you because they'll be more than happy to let you in. Like at the mass event, right? They won't hold you back. Whatever the amount is, I don't know what the amount is, but it's over 3 days. So it's like 3-day sessions, right? Don't let that stop you. They always have financial assistance programs, things of this nature. So then don't ever let that stop you. There's always people within the community that love to sponsor and donate towards something like that. Maybe they can't go, but they'll love to buy you a ticket or something like that. So don't let that hold you back, inshallah. That's very important, okay? Also, we always have special guests with us today, right? But today is also a very special day for many reasons. One being we have one of our non-Muslim guests that are joining us today. That is Stephen. Stephen, you just raise your hand. So this is actually Stephen's second time. He's actually in high school right now. And he looked at Islam. One of our sisters, Sister Nisha, she talked to him about Islam. He came, took a tour, took a second tour, mashallah. And he's really interested in Islam. So we ask Allah that Allah opens up his heart and guides him to Islam. Okay? So we welcome you, Stephen. We thank you for taking time out. Second, or fourth announcement, fifth, I forgot the number, right? So this, my time here so far at IIOC has been amazing. I've been coming to this mosque off and on for many years, but I've been full-time here for a little over a year, right? We've had, I just want to give you a perspective of how blessed we are to be a part of this community, right? In the last year and a half, I will say since a little over a year and a half, since last February, right, 2015, we had close to 200 people that either accepted Islam or were referred here to this mosque, only this mosque. Almost 200 people. Can you imagine that? 200, like almost 200 people. That's just this area. I don't know what the Islamic Center Hawthorne or Garden Grove or Cypress or Mission Viejo, I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they have a lot of people accepting too. I can only speak about this mosque. Can you imagine that? So we're very blessed to be part of this mosque, this masjid, and part of the administration they want to have events like this. Not every mosque has a new Muslim class. You know why? They might not have resources or the volunteers to do it. So we're very blessed, right? So this last week, I was very fortunate. We had 2 people that accepted Islam with us just this last week. And we're very fortunate because we have both of them here with us today. So I wanted to introduce both of our new Muslim brothers and sisters. First is our brother Dale. Dale, if you could just raise your hand. Allahu Akbar. May Allah bless you. Dale actually, these are some gifts coming up too. Dale actually was looking into Islam for I think a little over a month. If you remember those that came to our picnic, our IIOC picnic that we had, that was the first time he came. And then he was studying and looking into Islam. Just the other day on Friday, he accepted Islam. So we got these new bags. I wanted to give Dale this welcome kit to Islam, which has the Quran, some books, a gluable beard that he can just attach. Just kidding. I'm just joking. Because you know, they have the hijab for the sisters, for the brothers, we don't have anything. So I have to so I just wanted to welcome you to the community. Welcome to Islam. Inshallah, may Allah bless you. Inshallah. Okay, I'm very happy. I get really emotional with these things because I'm so blessed to be part of something like this, right? And secondly, our other, so it's a brother, actually our brother accepted. So you know, we always have so many sisters accepting. We got a brother, mashallah, too, that accepted Islam, which is beautiful, alhamdulillah. We also had a sister that accepted Islam. And our sister was someone who came for the tour that we had just recently, and then came back the following day too to want to know more about Islam, and thus she took Shahada there. So I wanted to welcome to our community Robin. Robin, if you can just raise your hand for me. So I got you a purple one. I hope you like purple. Again, a welcome kit. May Allah bless you. May Allah reward you. You're most welcome. We want to invite both of you. And a third announcement. we have somebody in our community that might have taken or took Shahada some time back, but like for many of us, we always need a review. We always need an understanding. We always need to go back to the drawing board and to learn again. So with us, we have with us our dear sister, and having said this, it's a very honor to have her because she came initially she's been here before to this mosque, but now she's going to be part and parcel of our family here, and that is our sister Zara. Sister Zara, Aisha, if you can just raise your hand for me. And you brought your daughter as well, I think, right? She's running around here somewhere. I also have a kit for you too, and I have, for those of you, so we just got these in. I wanted to first show everyone. I have yours as well, Sister Zara. But for those of you, if you're a new Muslim or you took Shahada, it doesn't have to be here. We have these really nice new Muslim bags. So like a drawstring or a backpack, you can put all your books. So if you're having a session, you're going to the library, whatever it is, you can just use one of these, inshallah. It's IIOC, some information about the mosque here and the website. So I'll have these here. For those of you that would like one of these, obviously there is $22, not including tax for this. I'm just kidding. It's free, inshallah, but you help yourself. I'll be here. I brought enough. We have gray and we have purple. It's up to you, whatever color you want. Whatever rocks your boat, that's up to you. But I have both colors here, inshallah, okay? So please make sure, most of you got the New Muslim material, but we didn't have bags at that time. So I really wanted to give a bag. This was literally in graphic designing. We were trying to get this done for a long time. We had some hurdles along the way, but we wanted to make sure that we got that out, inshallah, okay? That's that. So I wanted to welcome you three to Islam, to our community, and to our family. And may Allah bless you all, and may Allah reward you all. And we're very happy to have you. And please, also as a reminder from myself and everyone here, that when somebody accepts Islam, you should tackle them and hug them and stuff, right? Because you don't know what kind of challenges they went through to take Shahada, to become a Muslim. Allah chooses you. Allah chooses you. You don't choose yourself. Allah chooses you. It's like Hajj. It's an invitation. When Allah invites you, you go. You don't just say, I want to go. It's up to you. You have that intention, right? So for those of you, please make sure when you hear that announcement of somebody becoming a Muslim or accepting Islam, you make sure you go up to them and you introduce yourself to them and you give them your phone number, whatever it is to help somebody out. One of the worst things that can happen is when you tell somebody that, somebody accepted Islam, they're like, okay. It's really sad, and we can laugh about it, but it hurts. It really hurts. Or somebody that came to the mosque after 30 years, or someone who might have somebody looks at them and judges them because they have tattoos or whatever, a mohawk or something like that, right? I know. I was thinking of another example, but my example was actually at Jummah. I ran into a brother. Very good brother, mashallah. He just got released from prison some time back. He had a lot of facial tattoos on his head and on his face, right? Now I'm scared of what the community might say. Somebody in the community. Generally, I know they will be responsive, but I know there's somebody in the community that wants to say something. Like, brother, put on a hat. Brother, you're at the mosque. Brother. So, I was like, I have to get to my brother and I have to, protect him, But alhamdulillah, another brother brought him right to me. And he said, and somebody beat me to it to introduce themselves to him, right? Because it's right before the prayer. So what I'm trying to say is, be an encouragement for other people. Don't be a discouragement. Don't discourage somebody from coming to the masjid, right? We have a great family. You see, it started off again with 2 people this class. Now it's at a point where we have to keep putting more tables and chairs, and it will keep growing, God willing, inshallah, right? But do your best, inshallah, okay? Sister Najwa. She's here now? Oh, mashallah. Someone who's coming to our class? Oh, mashallah. Yeah. Sure. Okay, inshallah. Let her know her welcome kit is ready as well, inshallah. Thank you so much. How many of you went yesterday for the Halal Food Fest? Anybody Halal Food Fest? Who else went? That's it? Who went for the Halal Food Fest yesterday at Garden Grove Mosque? Okay. Did you guys get the email? Yeah, I sent everybody an email regarding that, or our outreach department. So please make sure you check your emails because there's a lot of events going on in the community. Sometimes we find out last minute, and then we have to email everyone. So I pray everyone had a good time with that. The New Muslim WhatsApp group, I'm just going through my announcements. Make sure, please, we're trying to make a WhatsApp group for new Muslims. Shh. We're trying to, sorry, just want to make sure I can touch on these points. A WhatsApp group for new Muslims. So when the sign-up sheet is going around, just do me a favor. If you guys can write your number, if you want to be included in that. This way I can notify you of any different events, things like that happen, inshallah. Free services. Something I announced some time back, but I want to announce again for our new Muslim brothers and sisters or anybody that you might know. There's free counseling. There's a food pantry and a medical clinic and a domestic violence shelter. 4 different things. 4 things, okay? There is a free counseling, a free food pantry, a free medical clinic, and a free domestic violence shelter that is around this area. If you or someone you know needs these services, let me know, please. I think some of the flyers are outside on the shelf. That's why always make sure you familiar yourself with the shelf and what's going on. But if you know of anybody that needs these services, free services again, let me know, please. I'll be here at the end of class, or you can email me, or you can call me, anything like that, inshallah. Okay, how many of you have a smartphone right now? Or a laptop, or a tablet, or a miniature theater, or something like that? The majority of you, okay? How many of you have subscribed to our page? Okay. Because I had a lot of questions of people asking how to do it. So what I'm going to do is quickly, in 30 seconds, I'm going to show you guys how to subscribe to the page. Just follow along. If you have your phones, you can do it right now. So just follow along with me. If you have your tablet or your laptop, just follow along with me. It should take no more than like 30 seconds to a minute, okay? So basically, you're going to open up, a tab or, Google Chrome or whatever you want to open. Go to IIOC. Oh, excuse me, sorry. You just go to YouTube. It was already open. I don't know why I opened it again. All right. In the search, you put IIOC TV. There's like a triple I right there. Sorry. Okay? IIOC TV, okay? You see all the videos come up, but you want this one right here. See IIOC TV? We have about 226 videos. All you have to do is subscribe right here. So apparently IIOC has not subscribed to their own channel. So I'm going to help them out. And you just click it. Oh yeah, you have to sign in. Sorry, yeah. You have to sign in if you have a Google account. Just make sure you're signed in. That's right. It'd be good if you're signed in, right? That's how you subscribe. Everybody got it? No? Okay, I'll show you right again. No problem. So just IIOC TV. You put it in the search. This icon, which is a masjid's logo or icon, just click here where it says subscribe. So right now there's about close to 800 people that have subscribed here to this page. And what happens is then every time a new video comes out, they will email you. So you don't have to even sit there and search the videos. They will just email you. When we have the Friday sermon, once it's finished, they just email you, right? How long it takes, I'm not sure, but you can always go on there and find out yourself, okay? Everybody with me? Okay. The second one, now that's IIOC TV, meaning the Friday sermon and the Friday night programs are going to be on this YouTube channel. Okay? The Friday sermon and the Friday night programs are going to be on this YouTube channel. Our new Muslim class, what we do in this class is going to be on another channel. That is going to be IIOC, and you can put Outreach or New Muslim. I'll show you right now. You see this one right here, New Muslim group? This is our page. You see right here it says live now, because right now I'm being streamed. So it's live right now. So if you go on YouTube and you click it, it will be on right now. It should be on, right? You just click subscribe, and we have 75 versus like 700. So well, it's good, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, right? Sister Najwa, you're famous. You're right here. She doesn't know. I don't think she knows, but she's right here. Most of you are celebrities on YouTube. Because I'm just kidding, because they only get this angle right here. But all you have to do is subscribe right here. You click it, you subscribe, and then you'll get the videos for this one as well. Everybody with me? Okay, cool. So I know I went a little bit overboard as far as time. So I do apologize, but just wanted to make sure I show you guys that. A reminder again, the sign-up sheet. Number 2, for those of you, if you need a new Muslim bag, just see me at the table here. Number 3, let's just make sure we clean up. Before everybody gets up, please, 1 second. Just make sure there's no food left over. So help yourself, make a plate. We don't want to have any leftovers. And then let's put the chairs away and the tables away. Remember the chairs in the racks, tables in the racks. You shouldn't be against the wall. May Allah bless you all. May Allah reward you all. And I really appreciate it. We'll see you all. Remember Coffee with the Sheikh every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. It's still going on. We have a really good turnout. Let's keep it going. Every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. till 7:30. Coffee is an open QA session for new Muslims, okay? All right. Jazakallah khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.